Are you ready to end your money worries? Not next month, not next year, but right now. Then you need to hear this. Money isn't your boss, and financial struggle isn't your guide. You've been told that hard work is the solution, that self-discipline will save you, and that scarcity is something you overcome with clever tactics and relentless effort. But I'm telling you today, none of that holds the real secret. Your words do. Yes, what you say with your mouth has more impact on your finances than your resume ever will. That's because money isn't controlled by endless toil. It's governed by a fundamental principle. And this divine principle doesn't respond to frantic hustle. It responds to your spoken word. It moves with a natural flow, not with logical explanations, with harmony, not with anxiety. You're not broke because of your circumstances. You're broke because of what you declare. You tend to vocalize what you currently observe instead of speaking into existence what you desire. You describe the problem instead of commanding it to disappear. But you were never meant to merely report on current conditions. You are called to shape your outcomes. So, speaking to you now, from spirit to spirit, I declare, money holds no inherent power. The true power lies in your words about money. If you speak from a place of fear, money pulls away. If you speak from truth, money flows freely. It's not your emotions that transform your life. It's the precise, spoken alignment with truth. This is the simple statement that changes everything. And no, it's not some magic trick or comforting poetry. It's spiritual engineering. A clear method that resolves your inner conflict with abundance and brings you into divine alignment. Do you want to discover the single sentence that ends money struggles permanently? Then prepare your spirit, because I'm not here to simply motivate you. I'm not here to coddle your ego. I'm here to speak divine law to your perceived lack, to show you that money has no will of its own. It simply obeys the voice of faith. You don't chase money, you summon it. You don't beg for resources, you expect them. You don't earn true rest, you inherit it. So discard the old falsehood that poverty is virtuous, that hardship is necessary, that money is somehow tainted. These are merely illusions created by those who've forgotten the true source. Your breakthrough doesn't start when your paycheck arrives. Your breakthrough begins the moment you declare, I release this burden of financial scarcity to the divine presence within, and I am now free to receive unlimited abundance. That statement will mark the clear separation between your past self and your new reality, between anxiety and prosperity, between struggle and effortless manifestation. Are you ready to understand why that one sentence can dissolve a lifetime of financial apprehension? Then listen closely. Let's delve into the spiritual law explained, the law of substitution. You cannot simultaneously hold fear and truth in your mind. One must replace the other. That is how the law of substitution operates. And until you master this principle, your relationship with money will remain conflicted, unstable, and confusing. The world has conditioned you to vocalize your fears. I don't know how I'll manage. Money is tight. There's never enough. These aren't just casual remarks. These are powerful decrees. These are financial agreements made in the spiritual courtroom. And what you declare, you experience. What you anticipate, you embody. But the law of substitution proclaims, where fear once resided, truth can now stand. When you speak the sentence, I release this burden of financial scarcity to the divine presence within, and I am now free to receive unlimited abundance. You're not just uttering pleasant words, you're performing spiritual surgery. You are lifting the weight of fear from your shoulders and placing it onto the altar of divine intelligence. You are stating, I will not carry what I was never meant to bear. It is the divine presence within, your God consciousness, the indwelling power, that performs the work. You don't need to know where the money will originate. That's not your concern. Your role is to refuse to carry the burden, and instead to claim your blessing. Let's examine this law through Scripture. Cast your burden upon the Lord, and He will sustain you. Psalm 55:22. And my God will supply every need of yours, according to His riches in glory in Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:19. These are not mere metaphors. These are absolute spiritual guarantees, but they demand substitution. You cannot receive abundance while clinging to the weight of lack. You cannot open your hands to provision while clenching your fists in panic. Every time you speak this sentence, you are making a profound exchange. Fear is replaced by faith. Burden is replaced by blessing. Limitation is replaced by divine law. Imagine your mind as a sacred garden. Fear is a weed, truth is a seed. The sentence is the tool that uproots the weed and creates space for the seed, but you must speak it daily. You must cultivate the soil of your consciousness until this new growth becomes unwavering. There are no exceptions to this law. If you speak it with conviction, it will work. If you speak it consistently, it will grow. If you speak it in the face of doubt, it will dominate. You are not being punished by money. You are being invited into a state of mental mastery. And the invitation sounds like this. I release this burden of financial scarcity to the divine presence within, and I am now free to receive unlimited abundance. Say it now. Speak it aloud and feel the shift, not yet in your bank account, but in your very being. That is where all financial abundance begins. Now, let's go deeper into practice. Introducing the one sentence. I'm giving it to you directly. The one sentence that ends your struggle with money isn't hidden. It's not complicated. It's not reserved for an elite few. It is universal law, and it is simple. Say it with me now. I release this burden of financial scarcity to the divine presence within, and I am now free to receive unlimited abundance. This isn't a poetic suggestion. This is divine legislation. Let me explain it for your spirit, line by line. I release this burden of financial scarcity. You are acknowledging the weight. You are refusing to carry what was never truly yours. Lack isn't your identity. Struggle isn't your birthright. When you say this, you stop entertaining fear and begin to banish it to the divine presence within. This is your ultimate source, your inner divine consciousness. The divine presence within isn't just a historical figure. It is the law of God embedded in your very being. When you place your burden here, you are entrusting it to the only power that can genuinely resolve it. And I am now free. This is the liberation, the transaction. You don't just drop fear, you step into freedom. Freedom to receive, to relax, to rejoice. This isn't passive language. This is the language of spiritual authority. To receive unlimited abundance. And here lies the blessing, not partial, not probable, but unlimited. You're not asking, you're not hoping, you're receiving. Because once the burden is gone, the blessing flows like water into an unobstructed channel. This one sentence isn't just for emergencies. It's for daily mastery. Speak it in the morning before you even get out of bed. Speak it when anxiety surfaces as you check your bank account. Speak it before you pay a bill. Speak it when doubt starts to creep in. You don't say it once and forget it. You say it until your entire being aligns. You say it until your energy reflects it. You say it until you're no longer begging for money to arrive. You are commanding it to report. Let this become your sacred rhythm. I release this burden of financial scarcity to the divine presence within, and I am now free to receive unlimited abundance. Say it calmly. Say it rhythmically. Say it until even your fear surrender to its sound. This is your new daily practice, and as you say it, don't wait for external changes. Let the inner shift occur first, because the world doesn't provide you a good, the God within does. And the money you seek is already awaiting the version of you who speaks this as a guiding principle, not as a mere wish. Now that you've received the sentence, let's explore the power of spoken word versus silent belief. Because until your words align with your spirit, your reality cannot truly change. Let's get to the very source of creation itself, the word. You might believe in abundance. You might meditate on wealth. You might journal your dreams of prosperity, but if your voice remains silent, your results will stay confined to the realm of potential. Silent belief doesn't move mountains. Spoken word does. The truth is this: nothing becomes real until it is spoken. The universe isn't responding to your hopes. It's responding to your declarations. You might feel abundant inside, but if your lips repeatedly utter phrases of lack, fear, and hesitation, your world will mirror your words, not your hidden faith. Scripture clearly affirms this. You will also decree a thing, and it will be established for you. Job 22:28. Not think a thing, not quietly believe, but decree, speak, proclaim. Your word is your creative tool, not your thoughts, not your feelings. When God created the world, He didn't meditate it into existence. He didn't just visualize the oceans or imagine the mountains. He said, "Let there be light," and there was light. This is the fundamental blueprint. To think is to conceive. To believe is to receive. but to speak is to create. Let me reveal the common pitfall that traps most seekers. They hold a deep inner conviction that God will provide, but they unknowingly negate it with their speech. They say things like, I can't afford that, money never lasts, I always get hit with unexpected bills. These are not innocent phrases. They are financial prophecies. Every word is a seed, and your subconscious mind is the fertile ground. The moment you say it, the universe begins to arrange itself to confirm your words, and if your tongue is conditioned by fear, it will always testify against you, even when your spirit longs for more. So what must you do? You must prioritize your spoken word over your emotions. You must declare truth in the face of current appearances. You must allow your words to be louder than your bank balance, your job title, or your financial history. Here is your new, unwavering command. I will not allow my mouth to betray my faith, because when your belief is silent, it remains unborn, but when it is spoken, it is brought into reality. Let me make it clear. Silent belief is a vision. Spoken word is a final judgment. One can be doubted. The other must be obeyed. So ask yourself, what do you truly say about your money? What do you speak when the bill arrives? What do you utter when financial provision feels delayed? Because your world isn't responding to your good intentions. It's responding to your declared truth. Speak lack, and lack persists. Speak abundance, and abundance responds. The universe isn't ignoring you. It's simply waiting for you to speak with authority. Now, with this new awareness, let's witness the principle in action. Consider the case study of the woman who spoke her way to paying her rent. I will show you exactly what happens when belief transforms into declaration, and the universe quickly responds. Let's delve into a real-life example, the principle proven. In real time, she was just days away from eviction. A single mother, a teacher by profession, with no child support coming in, no family to rely on, and no paycheck due in time to cover the rent. Fear weighed on her chest like a heavy stone. She had done everything the world advised her to do, buffeted, asked for help, prayed silently, but her eyes still fixated on the same numbers, the same insufficiency, the same overwhelming dread. Every time she opened her banking app, then, one night, while flipping through a well-worn copy of The Game of Life and How to Play It, her eyes landed on this sentence: I release this burden of financial scarcity to the divine presence within, and I am now free to receive unlimited abundance. She didn't feel powerful. She didn't feel particularly spiritual, but something inside her stirred a small, defiant spark. So she stood up in her living room, tears still fresh on her cheeks, and spoke the sentence aloud, not once, but 7 times, slowly at first, then with more conviction, then again the next morning, then in the car before work, then again at night while brushing her teeth, again while looking at the past due notice taped to her door, and again, every time, fear began to whisper, it won't be enough. She stopped dwelling on her fears and started declaring the truth. She no longer said, I don't know what I'll do. She replaced that statement, discarded it, and chose the new one. I release this burden of financial scarcity to the divine presence within, and I am now free to receive unlimited abundance. On the 5th day, her phone rang. A former client from years ago had randomly found an old email from her. They had just received a grant for a school program and needed a speaker for a 2-week workshop. Could she start immediately? And yes, the deposit would be paid upfront. Today, it wasn't a random stroke of luck. It was the operation of spiritual law. You see, her good was always trying to reach her, but fear had been blocking the way. The moment she spoke in alignment, she dissolved the obstruction. She released the burden and created space for the blessing. This isn't unusual. It's not an exception. It is the divine pattern. Let me ask you, what if she had waited for proof before she spoke? What if she had treated the sentence like a suggestion instead of a command? What if she had whispered her fears instead of declaring her faith? She would have remained stuck, not because God was unwilling, but because her words remained unspoken. The provision was there, the client was there, the payment was ready. It was her spoken sentence that made the connection. Hear me clearly, this isn't a story about chance. This is a demonstration of an immutable law, the same law that governs you right now, the same sentence that can unlock your next provision. Will you wait for the fear to subside before you speak? Or will you declare the truth as she did and witness the law fulfill its promise? Now, let's move into mental reprogramming. Replace financial fear with divine law, where you will learn to speak your way out of subconscious fear and into true freedom. Let's now reconfigure your inner blueprint with the only material that endures: truth. Financial fear isn't just a reaction to circumstances. It's a deeply ingrained program. It resides within your mind, like an unchallenged resident, whispering falsehoods that sound like logic. I never have enough. I always fall behind. Money disappears faster than it arrives. These aren't just thoughts. They are mental incantations, and every time you repeat them, you strengthen them. But what is built in thought can be dismantled by your spoken word. You don't combat financial fear by budgeting harder or working longer. You dismantle it by declaring truth louder than the lie. And you must do it with rhythm, with passion, with a sacred determination. This isn't simply positive thinking. This is fundamental mental reprogramming. Let me clarify. Your subconscious doesn't respond to silence. It responds to consistent sound, repetition, and authority. Every time you speak truth aloud, you create a new pathway in your mind. Every declaration is a new neural command. And the most potent weapon in this reprogramming is your own voice, aligned with divine law. Let's begin reprogramming right now. When the old thought surfaces, "I don't know how I'll pay for this," you interrupt it with, "I release this burden of financial scarcity to the divine presence within, and I am now free to receive unlimited abundance." When the fear says, "What if I lose everything?" you respond with, "There is no loss in divine consciousness. What is rightfully mine by divine decree can never be withheld." When shame creeps in, "I should have more by now," you stand tall and declare, "My supply comes from God, not from man. I am divinely compensated in all I do." You see, fear doesn't vanish by avoidance, it submits by replacement. You cannot think your way out of lack, you must speak your way out. This is the practice. Every time the old programming plays, you overwrite it with truth. You become the narrator of your new financial story, not the victim of your old emotional soundtrack. And repetition isn't just helpful, it's essential. Your very cells respond to spoken vibration. Your emotions shift with rhythm. That's why David sang psalms. Why prophets declared visions aloud. Why Jesus quieted the storm with a spoken word. So, I urge you now, make your declarations daily. Make them rhythmic, make them your guiding principle. Stand in front of your mirror, confront the doubt, confront the fear, and speak over it until it breaks. Your subconscious will resist at first. It might even mock you. But keep speaking, because eventually, your mind will yield. Eventually, the fear will crack. Eventually, the program will reset. And when it does, you will move through the same world, but lack will no longer be your perspective. You will see differently, expect differently, receive differently, because you will have transformed into someone new. A soul aligned with truth, a mind reprogrammed by spirit, a voice that no longer entertains fear. Now, let's step deeper into mastery with a command and a challenge. Speak your abundance into existence. This is where we stop just thinking about it and start truly manifesting it. Let's distinguish between illusion and reality. Spoken wealth versus visualized wealth. Many have been taught to visualize wealth, to picture checks arriving, to imagine the dream home, the luxury car, the overflowing bank account. And while imagination is a divine faculty, vital, creative, powerful, it is not enough. Visualization is the blueprint, but it is the spoken word that lays the bricks. You may close your eyes and envision millions, yet still speak scarcity into existence. You may dream of freedom, and yet say aloud, "I can't afford that." And in that moment, the dream crumbles beneath your own declaration. You see, visualization influences the subconscious, but declaration commands it. Visualization is a rehearsal, but the spoken word is the release. The spoken word propels your inner faith into the physical world and says, "Now, manifest." I've seen countless individuals say, "But I've been meditating on abundance," yet when I ask what they've been saying aloud, they fall silent. And that silence explains the delay. The law is clear. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so. Psalm 107:2. Not think so, not imagine so, say so. In the spiritual realm, your voice is the key that unlocks unseen resources. Spirit doesn't wait for fantasy, but for utterance. God created with words, not with daydreams, and you are created in that same image. Do not confuse feeling wealthy with speaking wealthy. The former might bring temporary comfort, but the latter, the spoken word, brings tangible results. This is why your affirmations must be voiced, not whispered, not just thought, but spoken into the atmosphere. Because when you speak, you align sound, breath, body, and spirit. You become a conduit, not just a container. And let me be clear, visualization must support the spoken word, not replace it. See what you desire, but then declare it as a fundamental truth. Do not stop at the image. Break through the barrier with your voice. You are not here to be a mere dreamer. You are here to be a declarer, a demonstrator, a distributor of divine abundance. So if you have been visualizing without results, missing link is your voice. Say it aloud. Abundance is not a fantasy. It is my spoken reality. Let this mark your shift from passive to active, from dreaming to declaring, from hope to harvest. And the harvest always begins with sound. You have spoken the sentence. You have felt its power. But to live within it, to fully embody it, is to make it a spiritual habit, a daily act of spiritual mastery. You don't say it once and wait. You say it until every cell of your body obeys. You say it until your mind falls into alignment. You say it until your abundance becomes as natural as your breath. This is the 7-day sentence practice, a sacred agreement between your soul and your source. For 7 days, speak this one sentence, aloud, with rhythm, with clarity, with divine precision. I release this burden of financial scarcity to the divine presence within, and I am now free to receive unlimited abundance. Each day adds a layer. Each day removes old patterns. Each day becomes a step on the ladder from fear to dominion. Here is your 7-day rhythm. Day 1, initiation. Speak it slowly. Let the words resonate like sacred bells within your body. Begin to feel the shift from fear to faith. Say it morning, noon, and night, especially when fear whispers. Day 2, resistance. On this day, your old ego will protest. You'll hear thoughts like, "This isn't working," or "You're just saying words." This is the last gasp of scarcity. Keep speaking. You're not trying to feel something. You are building something profound. Day 3, cracking the shell. Now, your external world may begin to reflect subtle shifts. A small gift, an unexpected call, a new insight. Don't doubt it. It's evidence. Keep the sentence close to your lips, like an unsheathed sword. Day 4, anchoring. You are no longer just repeating it. You are living it. You find the words coming to your tongue without conscious thought. You catch yourself saying it naturally. This is your new identity solidifying. Day 5, acceleration. Now, your energy moves faster. You begin to feel a new boldness. Financial shame starts to shed like old skin. The sentence is no longer just a hope. It is truth in active motion. Day 6, overflow. Provision appears where there once was delay. You begin to receive not just ideas or gentle nudges, but tangible substance, concrete provision, divine confirmation, and it's only day 6. Day 7, completion. On this day, you speak the sentence not as a practice, but as who you are. You have released the burden so many times, it no longer knows how to return. You are light. You are free. You are living by divine law. This isn't a mere ritual. This is spiritual training. It's how you completely rewire your system of struggle. Do not wait for the fear to vanish before you open your mouth. Do not wait for the anxiety to settle, for the facts to improve, or for the evidence to change. If you do, you are not living by faith. You are surrendering to appearances. And appearances are the oldest deceivers in creation. You must learn to speak when your throat feels dry, when your knees are trembling, when your bank account whispers lies, and your mind repeats old scripts. This is the true battleground of spiritual mastery. Here is the command: do not be silent in the storm. Speak in the presence of fear. Your words are not meant for calm conditions. Your words are the calm itself. When Jesus stood in the boat and the waves were raging, he didn't meditate, he didn't visualize calm. He spoke, "Peace, be still," and the sea obeyed. Why? Because divine law doesn't wait for emotions to stabilize. It acts from authority. And you, child of spirit, possess that same authority. But it only flows when you dare to declare while the challenging appearance still looms. The fear you feel isn't a warning. It's an invitation, announcement that a lie is present, asking you to believe it. Instead, you must declare, "I release. this burden of financial scarcity to the divine presence within, and I am now free to receive unlimited abundance. Even if your voice shakes, even if your heart pounds, even if you feel like a fraud, speak it anyway, because every time you speak truth in the presence of fear, you teach your soul to trust divine law over human logic. And let me give you a challenge for the next 7 days. Whenever fear arises about money, about bills, about your future, you must speak this sentence aloud within 10 seconds, not in your head, not in a whisper, but aloud. Say, I release this burden of financial scarcity to the divine presence within, and I am now free to receive unlimited abundance. Say it when doubt comes. Say it when you feel unworthy. Say it when fear calls your name and tries to shame you into silence. Because that's where your authority is truly tested. Not in comfort, but in the midst of the challenge. If you can speak in the presence of fear, fear will begin to flee your presence. It will recognize your voice and tremble. It will know that you cannot be controlled. This is the law of spiritual self-governance. Speak in the face of fear, and you will soon walk where fear cannot follow. Now that your spirit is alert, your mind realigned, and your fear exposed, let's wield the sword of the word. These declarations aren't just pleasant phrases. They are powerful metaphysical commands. Each one is a spiritual hammer breaking old patterns. Each one is encoded with divine law. Say them aloud. Let them echo in your room, in your car, in your sacred inner space. Let every cell hear. Let every fear break. Let every scarcity dissolve. I do not chase money. I command it by divine law. You are not a beggar in the marketplace. You are a creator in the image of God. Money is not your master. It is your servant, and servants respond to voice. I speak from the place of already having, not from absence, not from need, but from completion. Your words do not seek permission. They issue a verdict. I cast every burden of fear onto the divine presence within and walk free in abundance. You do not carry the weight of uncertainty. The divine consciousness within you handles the logistics. Your role is spiritual command. Let your inner power do the heavy lifting. My voice multiplies what I touch. Every bill you bless, every transaction you speak over, expands because the energy of your word reconfigures the field around it. God's wealth is circulating in my life with ease, flow, and joy, not with endless effort, not with panic, not with clenched fists, but with natural flow, with joy, with harmony. Let this be your guiding principle for circulation. I do not wait for evidence. I speak the evidence into being. You are not a thermometer reacting to appearances. You are a thermostat setting the temperature of your world. Speak now, see later. My spoken word is the true wealth. My visible money is simply the echo. Let this truth end the illusion. The word is the seed. The harvest is guaranteed. Don't confuse the fruit with the root. Keep speaking. Now pause, breathe, feel what has just shifted. These 7 sentences are not just affirmations, they are spiritual software. Every time you repeat them, you rewrite the code of scarcity. You interrupt generations of silence. You awaken ancient dominion within your own voice. Do not whisper these. Roar them, because the universe doesn't obey hesitation, it obeys conviction. And now you carry the sound of abundance in your mouth. She had lived under the shadow of just enough for decades, a faithful woman, outwardly spiritual, generous to others, yet silently tormented by fear every time her rent was due or the grocery bill grew larger than expected. She tithed, she volunteered, she prayed, but her life was a constant negotiation with insufficiency. She had grown accustomed to saying things like, I'll make it work. God will come through somehow. Money doesn't grow on trees. These were the unconscious statements that shaped her reality. She didn't realize it, but she was maintaining the struggle with her own words. She believed in spirit, but also in shortage. Then she heard one line from me. I release this burden of financial scarcity to the divine presence within, and I am now free to receive unlimited abundance. At first, she wept, not from joy, but from a deep realization. She understood she had never truly released the burden. She had carried it like a badge of spiritual endurance. So she made a solemn promise. For 14 days, she would speak that one sentence every morning before she even got out of bed. She would say it while cooking, while driving, while folding laundry, not once in panic, but as a guiding principle, as a command, as the new foundation of her world. At first, nothing outwardly happened. No large check in the mail, no anonymous donor, no sudden miracle. But she felt something shift internally. Her chest relaxed, her breathing deepened. She stopped checking her account 10 times a day. The spiritual anxiety lifted. And that was no small miracle. It was the beginning of true manifestation. On day 6, a coworker she barely spoke to approached her and said, "I don't know why I feel compelled to do this, but I've been assigned a side contract and I need someone I trust to handle the overflow. It's paid weekly." Interested, she immediately said yes. 2 days later, the organization called her directly. They not only hired her, they offered her a long-term retainer at 3 times her previous rate. And the most astonishing part, the contract had been signed the day before she started speaking the sentence. The provision had already existed, but she had to clear the fog of fear and align her vibration through declaration to step into it. She didn't chase the blessing. She didn't beg for it. She spoke into the clearing, and it appeared. Now, her guiding statement lives on her mirror, in her journal, on her lips. "I release this burden of financial scarcity to the divine presence within, and I am now free to receive unlimited abundance." Her abundance isn't luck, it is the operation of divine law. And the law doesn't favor specific individuals, but it strictly honors the spoken word. So I ask you, will you speak your way out of survival? Will you command your way out of compromise? Because if you do, you will discover, as she did, that the sentence doesn't just end struggle, it completely rewrites your story. If you examine the Gospels, you won't find Jesus begging, bargaining, or hesitating. You won't find him visualizing loaves into baskets or meditating lepers into wholeness. You will find him speaking, declaring, commanding. The Master's method was always the spoken word. To the sea, he said, "Peace, be still," not, "Please calm down." It was a command, not a comfort. To the dead, he said, "Lazarus, come forth." He didn't cry at the tomb in hope. He called, and what was bound had no choice but to obey. To the man at the pool of Bethesda, lying in decades of illness, Jesus didn't sit beside him and empathize. He declared, "Rise, take up your bed, and walk." This wasn't cruelty, it was clarity. Jesus understood spiritual law. He knew the power of the creative decree. He said in John 14:10, "The words that I speak unto you, I speak not of myself, but the Father that dwelleth in me. He doeth the works," meaning, the power flows through spoken alignment. When he fed the 5,000, what did he do? He took the loaves, blessed them aloud, and gave thanks for multiplication before it even occurred. He spoke abundance into physical form. He didn't wait for enough, he declared enough. And he said something else, something many overlook, "Greater works than these shall you do." He did not say, "Observe." He said, "Do." You were never meant to be a spectator of miracles. You were meant to be a speaker of miracles. The sentence that ends money struggles forever isn't magic. It is a divine principle. It is a reflection of the same law that guided Jesus' every action. The Father within performs the work, but the individual must speak the word. When you say, "I release this burden of financial scarcity to the divine presence within, and I am now free to receive unlimited abundance," you are not hoping. You are doing what Jesus did. You are stepping into the practical application of divine command. You are not begging for heaven to move. You are aligning with heaven already in motion. You are not waiting for favor. You are activating divine law. This is what distinguishes the metaphysical student from the religious wanderer. One believes God is waiting, the other knows God acts the moment truth is spoken. So speak as Jesus spoke, command as Jesus commanded, walk as Jesus walked in the rhythm of creative word and immediate manifestation. There will be days when the sentence feels empty, when your voice seems powerless, when the words feel foolish, mechanical, even absurd. Your mind will scream, "It's not working." Your bank balance won't shift. Your circumstances will tighten, and fear will attempt a final attack. This is the moment where most people fall silent. But you must speak louder. The resistance isn't proof that it's not working. The resistance is proof that the old pattern is dying. And like all things that die, it resists its demise. You must speak the sentence like a hammer, again and again and again, until the shell of fear cracks open and your spirit walks free. I release this burden of financial scarcity to the divine presence within, and I am now free to receive unlimited abundance. This isn't repetition for repetition's sake. This is spiritual leverage. Every time you say it, you etch a new groove into your subconscious. Every time you say it, you detach your soul from generational scarcity. Every time you say it, the inner mechanism of divine compensation moves closer to manifestation. You say it until fear gets tired. You say it until doubt loses its power. You say it until your reality aligns with your authority. Some burdens don't fall off all at once. Some illusions must be spoken through, layer by layer. Don't fear the repetition, fear the silence, because silence is where the old story survives, but the spoken word is where new life begins. You must become a scribe of power, speaking the same divine law until the obstacle is removed. It is not how you feel that determines the results. It is how faithfully you speak. Declare, I will say it until I believe it. I will say it until I see it. I will say it until the door opens and lack is a concept I no longer acknowledge. This is how you gain mastery over resistance. Not by sheer willpower, not by endless effort, but by consistent, lawful repetition of truth. Stand up if you can. Sit up straight if you must. But wherever you are, come into alignment. Your posture is your staff. Your breath is your offering. Your word is your weapon. We are about to release the sentence that ends struggle with money forever. Not because it's magical, but because it is spiritual law, spoken through authority. Say this aloud with me now. I release this burden of financial scarcity to the divine presence within, and I am now free to receive unlimited abundance. Again, with full clarity, I release this burden of financial scarcity to the divine presence within, and I am now free to receive unlimited abundance. One more time. Now, as law, I release this burden of financial scarcity to the divine presence within, and I am now free to receive unlimited abundance. Let it settle in your body. Let it vibrate in your bones. Let it cut through every ancestral contract, every mental illusion, every emotional residue of poverty and panic. Now declare this after me. My word is the end of struggle. My voice is the doorway to divine abundance. I am not waiting on money. Money is waiting on me. God is not delaying. I was delaying, but I delay no more. Now, breathe. That was not just a sentence. That was a spiritual decree. You didn't just say it. You stamped it into the unseen realm. Heaven has heard. Earth is aligning. You may not see it instantly, but the moment you spoke, the law was activated. The moment you spoke, your reality began to reconfigure. The moment you spoke, delay lost its grip. Never again say, I'm trying. Never again say, I hope so. Never again say, I don't know how. Because now you do. You know that the word is the how. Say it again tomorrow. Say it when you get paid. Say it when the bill arrives. Say it before the phone call. Say it when you feel abundant. And especially when you don't, you're not repeating out of desperation. You're repeating out of mastery. You are a divine commander now, and this sentence is your spiritual tool. Say it, mean it, live it, and now watch money obey the rhythm of your words. Let this be the turning point. Let this be the final moment you ever confuse lack with truth. The struggle isn't real, but the word is, and now you've spoken it. If these words have deeply resonated with you, don't leave silently. Speak again. Comment below with the decree. I release this burden of financial scarcity to the divine presence within, and I am now free to receive unlimited abundance. Write it once and let the universe echo it back. Let your voice be seen. Let your word become tangible. This isn't just about engagement. It's about activation, a public act of private mastery. And if you felt the shift, I invite you to subscribe, not just to a channel, but to a consistent practice, a powerful rhythm, a return, a remembrance of your divine authority. Come back daily, not for more content, but for more alignment. Speak with me again, declare again, command again, because your life won't change by merely watching. It will change by speaking. And this channel will be here to remind you, not of your perceived lack, but of your inherent divine law. So now, say it one more time with me. I release this burden of financial scarcity to the divine presence within, and I am now free to receive unlimited abundance. Your next financial chapter doesn't begin with effort. It begins with your next declaration. Return tomorrow. Your voice is ready.